Hi Jack. Yeah. So sorry I've been delayed for a while to actually make this video. Yeah. So this is one of the knife that actually I wanted to do thinning now. So you should look at this angle. Should look from here, and see if actually the V shape is like making sense or not. In a way that if it's too thick, when you're cutting, you'll feel that the slices that you make is bursting, instead more on actually cutting nicely. So if a knife is sharp enough, in theory, it can cut. No matter it's a thick knife or is it like a thin knife, it can cut. But when the edge behind of, sorry, the knife thickness, when behind the edge, just a little bit below the edge, if it's too thick, usually what will happen is that it will bursting instead of slicing. So you wanted to fix the area that is behind the edge. So last time when you join my class, I let you know that you should always follow the factory edge or maybe 15-degree angle. But for thinning, you need to go lower than that, maybe much lower than that. I'll do an example for you. So for example, this is like 15 degrees. I need to go way lower. So when I hold my knife, my index finger usually I place like in the is the center of the edge. This time I'll place my finger a little bit more onto the left. So for example, like this, you can see my finger trying to find a position just to catch, so that when I try to do thinning, it's actually stable. So I'll start same thing from the bottom to the top. Okay, the angle I hold is probably like 3 or 4. I'm not very sure, but this is how low I can go. It's almost stick to the surface of the stone, but make sure you always feel like there's a gap above it, else you're actually like thinning the whole blade. You can do that as well, but it will leave a lot of smudges and scratches across the blade, which is actually a bit ugly. For me, I don't like that. I will try to leave it up a bit. Okay, just like this, and then I'll start to do thinning. Okay, same thing. When you push, you're using force, and you pull, you release. I'll do like this across the whole stone. You can try to fully utilize the whole surface area of the stone, and just go like this. Okay, most of the time, you will find the knife actually have the thickest edge behind the tip. For some reason, most of the knife makers actually don't really bother about that. So here usually will be the thickest. I will try to focus thinning here more than often. But if you find that it's actually like more or less the same thickness, then it's fine. If you feel like here is thick, then you can try to thin a bit more here. If you feel like it's thick at the heel, you can try to thin a bit more here. Or if it's like in the center somewhere, you feel that it's slightly thicker, then you can try to just thin in the middle. And then on the backhand, same thing, trying to maintain almost the same angle. In my class, I teach you that your thumb should place on the spine of the knife, place at the center. But since you're going to try to do thinning and going at a lower angle, then you can try to place your arm slightly more towards the right. Okay, slightly more towards the right, so that here you can try to hold on the spine of the knife and just give it a good grip. And then at the same time, when you do thinning, your finger will not like keep hitting on the stone. Although that happens because some of the knives actually like having a very different profile, you might tend to actually need to like doing sharpening at the same time your skin will in contact with the stone for a long time. Try to avoid that as much as possible, because if you're trying to do this for a long time, you can actually remove some of the skin layers on your fingers. At the end of the day, you might have some bleedings and it won't feel good. Okay, so let's get back to this. Try to go as slow as possible, maybe 3 or 4. At the same time, get yourself a good grip. Same thing, 2 fingers trying to like pressing on the stone. Usually on this grip, I will not let go my index finger. If you remember or you recall the class last time, I told you that you can actually keep your finger, but since your thumb can't actually hold the knife very well. So keep your index finger here all time. Okay, and then two finger, just going back and forth. Push you're using force, pull you release. Okay, keep going across the blade. Usually also when your thumb is actually start to away from the stone, you can try to get your grip back, place back in the middle so that you can get a good grip and continue your cleaning. Okay, and then for how long you're going to do this is actually very depends on what kind of result you're going to achieve. Some knife are thicker, some knife are not. So it might takes you maybe 5 minutes to half an hour. Sometimes can even shoot up to 1 to 2 hours. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve. And after you do this all kind of a sharpening, you might see all kind of smudges here. It's very common, and if you feel like it's very ugly, you can try to do stroking at a low angle just to kind of like beautify the smudges. So that's usually what I did. Okay, there's still smudges, there's still a lot of work I need to do on this knife, but just let you know what you're going to do like this.